All right, just good morning. I know that Roshan put me in a very difficult and dangerous spot because I'm actually in between 400 people and makan. And I know that in Malaysia that is actually one of the biggest topics in life. So thanks Roshan for making this very uncomfortable. But don't worry, actually I'll keep it really actually sweet, snappy, and hopefully you will see it as something useful. Because when Roshan asked me to be part of this year's MLS, what really triggered me was actually not so much the topic AI, because for no one here in the room is a new topic, but really actually the title about how do we embed it in our DNA, in our organizations. Then I said, I think I would love to be part of this conversation because I can learn from actually everyone in the room, because you must have good experiences. What are positive and negative initiatives in terms of really embedding or not embedding. But I would like to give you a few things as well, because for the last 27 years or so, back in the Western Hemisphere and in the Eastern Hemisphere for the last 15 years, actually, we do this. We really talk about the DNA of organizations. And please take 10 seconds. When we say DNA of your organization, what is this? What are we talking about when we say DNA of your organization? What comes to your mind? And what we are seeing, so later on we are going to give an answer together, but ultimately it's going to be really that symbiotic value of human at the center, accelerated with AI. And if we can get this almost like artificial, but it's not artificial anymore, but it is really very authentic, this combination right, then transformations will be definitely more successful. Because currently, especially after COVID, about 80 to 85%, depending a little bit how you measure it, but 80 to 85% of transformations are not successful. And I see a lot of seasoned people here in the room. Most probably have gone through some of them in your life. And I'm sure you don't actually have always good stories to tell about how fantastic that transformation was, and you created raving fans out there with clients, or really talents who said, because of this transformation, you created the best place to work, to grow here for me. So that's a little bit the challenge for leaders at the moment. So 80 to 85% are not successful. That's why actually I wanted to touch upon two topics today, because this topic is too big to squeeze it in 20 minutes, but at least I would like to talk a little bit about two fail factors of AI transformation, two of them. And the rest actually, hopefully, you will follow up with us and we can help you, but the two of them, the most important, I would like to unpack with you today. The first one, you need to help me. So can I ask you please to stand up? Everyone, please stand up. Just stand up. And I know Tarif talked about trust. You can really trust me. Close your eyes. Please close your eyes. And with your right hand, index finger, eyes closed, point to the true north. There's only one north in our universe, right? So where is north? You can change your direction of your body as long as your index finger points to north for you. What is north? So do your index finger as high as possible so I can see your fingers. Yeah, very good. And point to the direction. Where is true north? Okay, some people are still discussing with themselves what is north and south again. That's okay, because it's almost lunchtime. Very good. And keep your hands there and look around in the room. So please keep your hands there, wherever it is. Look around. So very wise people, they point at the ceiling, right? Because they think wherever you are, north must be somewhere there. That's not true, by the way. Because there's only one north for everyone, right? And some of you got it right. So before you sit down, let me tell you what north is. From my position, north is exactly there. So if I face actually a little bit the exit doors, that corner is north. That means that's south, that's east, and this is west. So the one who were looking at the north at the ceiling, most probably you're not going to find it. Please sit down. Why this is so important? Because this is actually one of the main fail factors in organizations, because they call it actually AI transformation, but they really don't get the strategy, the true north, right, actually. In a lot of organizations, employees, especially the ones who don't have really a clue what the ivory tower is talking about, they're really confused about the topic AI and transformation because there is no clear one direction to this. It depends on who you talk to. If you talk to the CIO, you get a different story. If you talk to the CMO, you get a totally different story. The CEO is the most clueless normally because he thinks actually I can stay away from this topic, I just outsource this. It's not reality anymore. That's why actually the reality of this AI transformation, leave alone embedding in DNA, just actually to get the transformation right, starts with the big why about transformation. Why are we doing this? We call it AI transformation, but what is the true north? So let me give you a few of the statistics, and we see this in organizations, dozens of organizations actually every day. If you look at this, Malaysia actually, on the left, unfortunately one of the lowest in this region, it says basically only about 1/3 of organizations have a clear strategy or plan or a direction, the why and the what and the how about this new accelerator of AI in our organization. That means there is no clear game plan. There's no roadmap. But still, leaders want everyone to come on board and be part of this transformation. Globally, this number is a little bit higher. It's 45-ish, but it is still not that high. So Southeast Asia average 36, so let's say across the board, 1/3 of organizations are happy with what is our true north with this transformation. And imagine, actually, there's something you're not too clear about. 2/3 of organizations are not clear. How can you build trust with something you are not actually clear about? That means clarity, and I think we heard earlier, is not just the transparency, but mainly the uncertainty. People are uncertain about this topic. So when was the last time you embedded or embraced something you don't trust? And I think that's the real challenge going on in organizations. And that's why we look at the adoption. That's another, in the same study BCG did, actually you see another number, which is not so romantic either. Basically, only, again, 30 to 40% of organizations have really adopted AI in their, let's call it DNA, in the core processes to really make it part of their core business. And again, we here in Malaysia, 32%, one of the lowest, and in Southeast Asia, we lag behind because the rest of the world, especially in some countries, as you know, in the West, are definitely going faster. So this adoption, let's talk about this. We already touched upon one thing. Adoption can't happen, transformation can't happen if we don't have a clear, simple strategy, direction about the why, what, and how about this AI. Because otherwise, you'll be part of the 85% of the failures of another change, another transformation. But there's actually one more. Because ultimately, if you look at this topic, the human at the center, I think some of the pre-speakers actually this morning, including two of the doctors, they touched upon it. But ultimately, it's about the human side. So the fear actually is there. About, let's say, we have 400 or 500 people in the room. Half this room basically has this thought of what happens if AI really becomes part and parcel of our organization with my job? Will I have a future here? Statistics show that's about 45%. So uncertainty, fear, and yet we want our people to embrace and make it part of their DNA. Hell of a job for leaders. However, the contrast actually, if you look at what leaders are fearing, what is their biggest headache, more than half of the leaders are saying, my biggest fear is actually we will not have the right talents in the future. So if you combine this, actually, that means this topic AI is not in a very positive spirit yet. Because we need to basically manage human emotions in order to really embrace this and to really champion all the beautiful stories, all the best practices we are seeing maybe, but it is not the reality in organizations yet. Because the human culture or mindset shift hasn't really taken place yet. And I think if you really look at the future of AI, it's really not coded in formulas. The future of AI must be written in the culture, the real DNA of organizations, which is actually human beings like you and your team members and the leaders who are guiding these kind of transformation journeys. It must be encrypted in the mindset and behavior of people. Otherwise, it's going to be another shiny object, another very fancy word, but it's not going to be reality. That's why actually I would say to anyone who is fearing of AI, don't fear AI. Actually, the fear is in you. If you will be replaced, that will not be by AI. It will be someone who is faster, more growth mindset, better in embracing uncertainty and taking risks with reinventing self. So that's why actually this fear is, I think, fair and real. On the other hand, there's a bit of artificial fear in it. And I think leaders should help teams and their organizations to get rid of fear, because fear normally always slows down change and improvement and growth. If we look at change from a little bit more our core business, which is a little bit more behavioral science, human behavior, you could say actually there are 4 stages people want to go through in order to really champion change. So let me help you with step by step what that looks like. There we go. The first step is like a funnel. You can see it already, the shape, right? It's going to be from top down. It's going to be the 4 stages of what human behavioral change ideally should look like in order to make transformations long-lasting. The first one is obviously about, I don't know what I don't know, right? That means people need to get awareness. On AI, because of all the things actually we have seen the last couple of years, awareness is sky high in the world. However, there's not a guarantee for attitude. And what is attitude? Attitude is basically your lens, how you look at the reality. So I'm aware now, but how do you look at that reality? It's the lens of your camera. Are you positive about it? Are you skeptical about it? Are you maybe fearing it? Like we saw, right? Actually, 45% says, I might like it. On the other hand, there's a big risk because I might not have a job in the future. So this is basically where attitude starts and where change really actually starts. The next step in behavioral change is actually about what do I with that awareness and my attitude. Because attitude is nothing. It's just the lens. Helps with change, but it's not change yet. It's like your camera. The lens basically is the direction. But when you take pictures, that's the actioning. And that's our day-to-day behavior. And this is actually what we mean by embedding. Embedding is not, I know about it. Embedding is it part of your day-to-day acting? That's the behavior. And of course, ideally, in the most successful transformation journeys, you would like to create change champions. They advocate for you. They are not followers. They want to be actually in the front line of change. And that's why if you look at it, the shape of the funnel, we are even a little bit nice if you look at numbers. It is extremely wide at the top normally, but very slim at the bottom. Because if you look at, again, just statistics, about 10 to 12% of your most performing, most open-minded, growth-minded people take care of 80% of your business. And that's why actually this is so important. One of the biggest mistakes next to, because I said I will do 2 of them for today, the second biggest mistake is leaders use a one-size-fits-all implementation, transformation approach in their organization. And we do know that if you put 3 people together, you already get culture. That means different mindset, different behaviors that is not catered for. We push it down the throat. And that's why actually these organizations become part of the 86% failures of transformation. So let's talk about that second failure, which is one size doesn't fit all. That is not a solution, and leaders should not do that. So true adoption, true embedding is basically a combination of first mindset. What do leaders do to get rid of fear, to get rid of that negative spirit? How do they role model it? And as I said, unfortunately, based on our own research, we have talked to dozens of C-level, both in Europe and in Asia, we see that actually, especially CEOs, outsource this responsibility to other people in their organization. So the role modeling, the tone at the top, unfortunately, doesn't help with the right mindset. The second thing you need for it, I already said, mindset is nothing if we don't translate that in our day-to-day behavior. And if we keep repeating that, consistency, that becomes our second nature, which is called habits. And we are habitual creatures. I think you know, right? We are habitual creatures. One more number. After this, I'm not going to share numbers anymore. Please think about it. Of your day-to-day behavior, what of all of your actions and behavior is habitual and what is really thought through? What number comes to your mind? So what do you do based on habits and what is really a thought through action you do? Can I see maybe hands? Who says it's about 50% or lower? That means habitual is 50% or lower. One hand? Okay, let me then go to the. Who says it's more than 50 to 80%? Let's go to the 50 to 80% is habitual. A bit more, looks like 1/3. Okay, who says more than 80%? The rest? That means the remaining ones are still stuck in I have no clue. Okay, let me help you. 95% of our day-to-day behavior is actually what we call basically fast thinking and slow thinking. Daniel Kahneman wrote a fantastic book about it. It's actually habitual. 95% we don't think through. Only 5% is deliberate, very thought through actions. And that's why we need to take this into account when we talk about human change in organizations. And mostly, I don't want to make it too doom and gloom, but mostly leaders don't really understand human behaviors in organizations. They know how to redesign processes. They've done that a lot. They know how to draw a new org design. Fantastic. Actually, they have all scenarios. But when you ask them, what is the most... That was not deliberate to get your attention, by the way, but it's good. What is the most important in your company? Definitely all leaders say my people. But then we ask them, how much do you understand your people? Typically not so romantic answer. And that's the reality, unfortunately, why these big wave changes are not successful. I'm going to help you with a little bit of this, because when we talk about this embracing AI, you could actually simplify it, because we are consultants, that what we do, simplify the world in 2 dimensions. Basically, how do your people actually perceive this? Is attitude. That's the horizontal. The vertical is actually, what is their early experience? What are the first impressions of basically experimenting and experiencing AI? And if you look at this, basically we have 4 types of personas at the moment in organizations. If you have low positive attitude and a low experience, obviously these are the most critical in your organization. We call them the thoughtful observers. They are not acting, because they actually are having a bit of a cynical attitude and their experience is not that positive. That means they will wait and see. So these people are typically not your advocates, the front runners. Let me build it up. So again, attitude is a bit low, but experiences are getting more and more positive. These are typically your cautious experts. Still cautious because they're not full in, they're not wholeheartedly doing it, but they're definitely intellectually, mentally very curious about what and how about AI in their life. This is getting more and more the majority in our organizations, by the way, this group. Then we have the opposite. That means they don't have positive experiences, but they just have a very open mind to any new changes, actually. This persona is called actually the willing optimist. Normally in organizations, not the most successful groups if you only rely on them, by the way. I'll come after this. Because a bit naive, a little bit of high energy, low effectiveness in it, but you need them in order to create positive energy. So that's the third persona. Ideally, where we want our people, our teams to get at, obviously, is the right top corner. You want to have positive attitude, you want to have positive experiences, and these are your enthusiastic, pioneers. Because, do you remember in the funnel, the advocacy comes mainly from them. Because they can create new believers. Because they have the right spirit, they have the right belief, and typically, actually, they have the right skill set as well to show, not only talk, what that looks like. Because of they have positive experiences, it made things really better. What I would like to do today, because I have 10 minutes left, and I really want you to leave with, actually, where are you? What is your current position in terms of embracing and basically ingraining this AI in your life as a human being? So let's do a quick QR code test, actually. Oh, sorry. Yeah, because my colleague said, Nur, you can actually talk about it, but you have to show some slides on this. Quickly. Let's go back, Narvi. Sorry, sir. I just want to... There we go. So for the ones who just want to get some, a little bit more ingredients. The first one, thoughtful observer. Actually, the most important thing is here, they are critical wait-and-see people. But they have actually an added value. That's why on the right-hand side, please look at them. Their strength is they bring actually reality to dreams. So that's why please listen to them. Not only to them, but please listen to them. They make things more realistic. Of course, the pitfall is they slow down changes. Let's go to the second one. Cautious expert. Their characteristic is actually they would love to make sure that things are not derailed. So that's why they do a very rigorous risk analysis. They want to know all the pros and cons. They need more data. And the strength is definitely well thought through AI implementation. So ask these guys, what is the most sustainable way? But again, the pitfall is they might actually block a lot of your good intentions on innovation. So take that into account as well. So that's why you get the message. You need all of them. You need to make it balanced. But everyone has a dominant persona in their approach. The third one, willing optimist. As I said, you really need them for positive energy. Because they love new things, actually. But their biggest pitfall is they might go for hype, but maybe not really thought through ideas yet, not proven yet. That's why you need the critical colleagues to listen to as well. You need to make sure that both voices are heard. And the last one is the enthusiastic pioneer. Ideally, we bring our teams over there. That's basically the champions of AI based on both experiences, and they have a very positive mindset. So these are some summaries. Later on, by the way, you will get from us more information what is behind this, because this is just a summary. And this is what we are going to do today with you. Currently, so please don't do wishful thinking, because we all want to be in the right top corner. I just told you the reality out there, we are not there yet. Do a self-scan. Currently, when it comes to embracing, embedding AI, where are you? We are going to do that with a QR code, actually. So please scan the QR code, and you are going to get a multiple choice, right? The 4 choices. We just want to make it visible to all of you. What sort of personas do we have today here at Sime Darby Convention Center with all of you? Where are we? So as you can see on the right side, we see already a lot of people keying in. Please key in. Oh, the banner, of course, yes, yes. All right, we have more than 100 of you already, so... We are 200 out of almost 300, so we are 2/3 on the way. So let's get a few more of you in this quick scan. Okay, let's give you another 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's have a look. This is not a scientific research. Don't worry, actually. This is just a quick scan. Let's have a look what we have in the room today. Narvi, so maybe we'll see a little bit today's distribution. It looks like you are a little bit more on the optimistic side. So 120, which is the largest group, as you can see, are the willing optimists. That means I see this reality with a bit of a growth mindset. I'm optimistic about it. I'm positive about this. However, my experiences are not proven yet. I'm just a beginner. I'm learning. That's basically what that means. The second largest is a bit more the thoughtful observers. In real life, this group is normally bigger. So I think the fact that you are here because of the topic already is, I think, an indicator that you must be a bit of an optimistic and positive person. But normally, this is not the normal distribution. That's why I'm going to ask you a second question. In your organization, so there's not you, in your organization, what is the dominant persona currently? So we'll do a QR scan, exactly the same. Instead of now I'm asking you the we. Whatever your organization is. If it's 10 people, it's 10. If it's 100,000, 100,000. Which persona do you see dominantly happening when it comes to AI embracing, embedding in the DNA? All right, so you're getting more experience. This goes faster. We're already halfway. That's good. Let's give you another 10 seconds. Let's see what your ecosystems, the organizations, teams you're part of, what that looks like according to you. 5, 4, 3, 2, okay. Narvi, let's have a look what this distribution looks like. Okay, so it flipped a little bit, less optimistic, a little bit more the critical, thoughtful observers. And I think the cautious expert was pretty much the same as what you said about yourself. And definitely the number right top corner suddenly drops to lower numbers. That's very normal because this is exactly actually what we see in organizations as well. By the way, what these two charts mean is this. Let me translate it to you. I am actually already very good in change, but we have some losers back there. They don't want to change, right? I mean, in other words maybe, but this is what it actually really looks like in organizations. We exaggerate our own mindset and behavior too positively. Let me just correct what's going on over here from a little bit for a science point of view, because we judge ourselves based on our intention, and we judge others based on their actions and behaviors. That means, actually, we look at our intention, whereas intentions don't really make an impact. That's actually within you. The real impact is how does it come out? And that's why, actually, we need to listen to these voices. But if everyone thinks, I'm already there, others should change, normally, change doesn't happen. So this is one thing you should bring home, because if everyone in the organization would think, I am a front runner, but the others are not, normally we keep waiting for each other. And I'm going to wrap it up with one summary. And that summary is basically based on our 35 years of experience helping big organizations with human change in business transformations. I think there are 3 engines which come together to make it holistic, sustainable, and long-lasting, this change. First of all, I already started off 20 minutes ago with that. What is your true north of this transformation? You can't ask people to join you for a journey if you don't let them know what's the promised land. If you don't describe the promised land in a colorful, inspiring manner. And that's currently not so a big strength of leaders. That's what we saw, right? Actually, 1/3 has some sort of clarity, 2/3 doesn't have a clear roadmap. The second thing is, obviously, from your point of view, the left bottom corner, technology. What is actually the skill set? Are we up to date? Are our processes, structures enabling new tools? Is this aligned, actually? Obviously, the tech savviness must be part of it. We can't outsource this to consultants, to people who are experts. Everyone should become, again, tech-savvy professional. Remember, otherwise, not AI, but someone who becomes that will replace you. That's the reality out there. The most difficult part of this picture is the right bottom corner, because that is the topic which I gave you a little bit of a sneak preview earlier. It requires human engineering, not process engineering. And that's not the strength of a lot of leaders when they're hired as C-level. And that's why that part, changing behavior and mindset, and having the ethics and the philosophy about how do we make this world a better place with this, is not going, at the moment, not being utilized in a very effective manner. I hope you're still hungry, because I promise that actually I will keep it snappy and short. I know, Roshan, actually there are a lot of other moments, right, to talk about these topics. So I would like to say, actually, if you are a leader in the room, please don't outsource this to anyone else in your organization, like CTOs, CIOs. If you run a business, you are by default a change leader. And if you want to become a successful change leader, please look at these ingredients together. Because just by buying technology is not going to make AI a core symbiotic element in your organization to help the human beings to thrive, to grow, and perform better. Thank you very much, and we'll see each other later.